Did you know that some people are in an unhealthy relationship because of what they believe about relationships? I know you're probably like, Keandra, what are you talking about? But today we're going to be talking about the 5 myths that could be keeping you in an unhealthy relationship. Hey, it's your girl Keandra and we are back. But before we get started, I want to hear from you. I want you to put in the comment section, what are some myths or some things that you believed about relationships that are simply not true? So let's get right into it. Myth number 1 is that relationships are too much hard work and they take up way too much time. Now, we're talking about myths, so these are things that are simply not true. Now, if you know anything about me, you know that I am not a big fan of people saying that things are hard. Let me explain, okay? So when people say, oh, my relationship is hard, oh, my marriage is hard, that's hard work, that's hard. Listen. The way that we process things and the way that our brain works, our thoughts impact our feelings impact our behaviors impact our outcome. I'm gonna say that again for the people in the back. You didn't know that you were gonna get a therapy lesson for today. So here it is again. Your thoughts impact your feelings impact your behaviors impact your outcome. So if you think that something is hard, it is challenging, it cannot ever be done, you're going to feel like it can't be done, which means you are not going to work at it, which means you're not going to get the result. So when people say that relationships are so hard, I want to encourage us to use a different set of adjectives. Instead of saying my marriage is hard, instead of saying relationships are hard, instead of saying parenting is hard, instead of saying my job is hard, can we use another word there? Can we replace that with maybe even something like the word challenging? And when I think of the word challenge, I think of a different mindset. So typically, if someone challenged you to something, say for instance, I was going to challenge you into a foot race. I probably wouldn't because I would lose, and I'm getting old and my knees is just not the same. My knees is just not the same, nor is my back, my neck and my back. But anyway, so if someone challenged you to a race, or someone challenged you to a sing-off, or someone challenged you to a board game or something of that nature, 9 times out of 10, you are going to arise to the occasion and to see if that person can beat you or if you can beat that person, right? Typically, most people on average do not back down from a challenge when they feel like something might be challenging. But when we start to think about hard work, it's so hard, it puts you in a mind frame that you don't even want to try. Let's be real. If you think that something is hard, you're going to feel like it's hard. And you're like, I'm not even going to put any more work, time, or energy into this because it's not going to get better. It's not going to improve. Nothing's going to change. So why even put in effort here, right? And if we have that same mentality and that same mindset about relationships being hard and hard work, then guess what? A lot of us are not putting in the time and the energy that we need to have a healthy relationship because we don't think it's going to be better. We do not think it's going to be better or get better. So I want us to change our language. I don't want us to think that relationships, marriages, all of these things are hard work or it takes too much time, because it doesn't. If you desire to be in a healthy, committed, long-lasting relationship, you got time. You got time, you got energy, and you should if that's something that you desire. We always work towards things that we want, right? If you're career driven, you work towards that goal. If you want to be a parent, you work at being a great parent. You work at these things, and it's never too much time, energy, effort into those things. So why would we say negative things about relationships? So I need for us to change our language here. Stop saying relationships are hard. Myth number 2 is that a good relationship is too expensive. Now, I probably heard this a lot when I am working with my clients. And so oftentimes, because we know that therapy can be expensive at times, so they have this mentality or this ideology of like, if I want to have a good working relationship is too expensive. I have to put all of this time and energy into therapy. I have to put all of this time and money into dates. I have to put all of this time and money into pleasing my partner. And that is the most ridiculous thing that I have ever heard of. Things that we really want, kind of piggybacking off of the first thing, we will spend money on. Y'all know y'all spent money on that Beyonce concert. Y'all know y'all spent money on the new sneakers or shoes or heels, pumps, handbags, bundles, hair, clothes, cars. When you really want something and you want it to work, you will spend the coin on it. And to be honest with you, a lot of us purchase things that we don't even need. And when we really want something and we don't even have the money for it, what will we do? We will literally save up till we get enough, and then we will go and purchase the thing. So if you will put all of this time, energy, and effort into material things that are literally here today, gone tomorrow. You go to a concert for 2 hours and then you're never going again. You put money into all of these things, but you think that you don't have to put resources into your relationship? Absolutely you do. But that doesn't mean it has to be too expensive. Nothing is too expensive when you want it to work. So that is a complete myth. The third myth that you have probably been led to believe is that it's all your partner's fault. I have heard this so many times that I am literally turning blue in the face. Listen to me when I tell you, everything is not your partner's fault. In all actuality, sometimes it's you, boo. Let that soak in. Sometimes it's you. Everything cannot be put and blamed on your partner. So you can't even sit up here and say that when things are going wrong, when things are going left, when your relationship is not in the best space, that it's all your partner's fault. That's not true. It takes two to tango, boo. Two people are in this relationship. So if you are feeling like all of the blame is always on your partner, we need to stop right there, because that means you're not taking accountability. And when someone isn't taking accountability, that is a huge problem. It's telling me that you think you're perfect. It's telling me that you think nothing's wrong with you. It's telling me that you should want your partner to do whatever you want to do and it's never ever about them. That means you are not taking responsibility for what you can. And that's one of the things that I always encourage my couples and the people that I work with all of the time, is to take responsibility for what you can. You're human. You're going to mess up. You're going to make mistakes. And when you do, you should fess up and own up and apologize and say, you know what? My bad. I'm sorry. I didn't know. I can try harder. I can do that better next time. Please show me the way. You can do things to make sure that you are taking accountability. And when you do, that becomes attractive to your partner. When your partner knows, like, man, my chick, my dude, he is in a place where he has enough personal conviction and enough self-awareness to be able to say, man, I was wrong here, and it's not just you. That's sexy. I don't know about y'all, but that's real healthy and sexy. And sometimes I know the healthy stuff is like whatever with y'all, because we focus on the toxic traits about relationships all the time. But when something is going well and something is healthy, it can be very attractive. But we're so used to the opposite happening that when good, healthy things happen in our relationship, we don't even know how to handle it. And before we move on to the fourth myth, if you are enjoying and loving this information thus far, then I can guarantee you that you will love my absolutely free course. It is called the #Relationship Goals course. And if you go to WeChooseToThrive.com, you will get full access, because we will be going over the top 3 relationship killers. Yeah, if you want to know what those are, you need to go to WeChooseToThrive.com or click the link in the description. Now, let's get back to the content. The fourth myth that I want to talk to you guys about today is that change happens overnight. Many of you have been led to believe that when something happens, when something goes wrong and it needs to be fixed, that should happen almost instantaneously, that it should be fixed right away. And that is the furthest thing from the truth. Because what happens is, if you have been in a rut, if you have been in a difficult situation, if you have been in a place where there's been cheating or lack of trust or parenting issues or whatever you are experiencing in your relationship, you've probably been going through it for a while. Whether that is a few weeks, whether that is a few days, whether it's months or even years. So if you think about, if we have been going through this for this set period of time, what makes you think at the snap of a finger that it will magically disappear overnight? Oftentimes, when you have been going through something for a very, very long time, it takes a good chunk of time for you to see change. If you've been experiencing something for the last 10 years, and then you think in 3 days that it's going to be magically fixed, that's a lie. That is not going to happen. It is almost impossible. Now, I'm not saying that it's going to take another 10 years for you to rectify the situation. I'm not saying that, but it ain't going to take a few days, and it's not going to happen overnight. So you have to be patient enough with yourself, with your partner, with your relationship, where you are going collectively as a unit to be able to say, okay, we've been dealing with this issue for a while. We have a game plan of how we are going to rectify it, whether that's us going to counseling, whether we're talking about it, whatever the case may be. And so we're putting time, energy, and effort to make sure that things are changing. And I often tell my clients this: slow progress is still progress. That just freed up a whole bunch of y'all right there. Slow progress is still progress. So it doesn't mean that you have to sprint to the finish line, but if you are changing and shifting and doing things just incrementally better each and every day, that is still progress, and that has to be acknowledged. So if you are seeing slow progress and slow change over time, but it's not necessarily as quickly as you want it to be, I want you to stop and pause and remember that you're not where you used to be. And the last myth, number 5, is that you think that you can do it all on your own. Now, I have worked with literally thousands of couples, and I have never ever seen one couple that can work through issues and difficulties on their own by themselves for their entirety of their relationship. They need to call in reinforcement from time to time. And if you think that you can go through the ins, the outs, the ups, the downs, the in-between, the heartache, the pain, the difficulty, the shifts that happen in everybody's relationship, if you feel like you can go through those without getting some type of outside help at some point, you are literally deceiving yourself. And if you even try to, that kind of just shows me that you don't understand the power of a support system, that you don't understand the power of professional help, that you don't understand the power that other people might have and the knowledge base that other people might have to be able to help you. Other people outside of your relationship may have tools that can change your relationship very easily. I remember I worked with a couple and I gave them one communication tip, just one. And they literally said, oh my God, Keandra, if we would have been implementing this years ago, our whole relationship would have changed. And I'm like, bruh, listen to me. This is what I do. I'm good at this, right? And so it just took one small communication tip and tool from me that helped impact and change their communication style. So think about if that's the case for you. If you sought professional help from a therapist or a coach, or if you went to your pastor or received some type of counseling that may be faith-based, or if you simply went to another couple who is wise and discerning and who has been where you are to kind of help you, and that's not going to judge you, and that's not going to be up in your business, and that's not going to share all of your business across the world, I think that that is very powerful as well. But also as a couple, you need to know who to go to and who not to go to. Like I mentioned before, you can't just go to every single couple. You can't just go to any pastor. You can't even go to any therapist, to be honest with you. You have to go to a place and be with the person who is suitable for you. You have to go to a place and be with the person who you and your partner both agree upon that this is a good fit to help advance our relationship. Because if you don't, you might find yourself in a little bit more trouble than you originally anticipated. So I hope you found something in this video useful in my attempts to help you debunk some of these myths. So I'll see you next week. Be blessed.